Hi guys, welcome to Sleepy, Staffordshire. Got the National Memorial Arboretum in that direction, Kerborough Sprint Track in that direction. Want to launch a new YouTube channel, show you the kind of things I want to do with cars on a budget. Obviously we've got the strict spending cap imposed by the wife, we can't go over, so things are going to be creative about how we move things forward and get the best we can. So welcome, my name's Craig, this is Exhausted. Inside this garage is not a rare car. It's not an expensive car. It's not a car that's been in there for 25 years that I'm going to fix up, cobble together and drive halfway across the country. But it's my car. It's a car I've owned for nearly 20 years. And I've never made a YouTube video before, but this is going to be my first one. I'm going to give you guys a brief introduction about my car. I'm going to tell you about some of the plans I've got for the car. And I'm going to go over some of the things I've done in the few decades that I've owned it. So let's open her up, roll her out and see what we've got. Jesus, it's sunny this morning, guys. I tell you what, late September, mid-September, what bloody hell are we? September sunshine. She's looking pretty glorious, although she is proper dusty. Oh, wow. Okay, right. So, my 1974 MGB, British Racing Green, with a few modifications here and there. So what we're going to do is have a quick, bring you in, closer look, show you some of the things I've been doing, talk about the things I'm going to do. Right then, so a quick walk around. As I said, she's proper dusty, so yeah, we'll deal with that later. So she's not perfect, still a work in progress. One thing I'm not very good at is painting, although I try my best. So see if you guys can spot the bits that I've painted. So she's a bit bubbly along here, along the seam. It's quite common. Whoever painted this wing, whenever they did it last, didn't do a great job. You can see some of the bubbling along there. Bullet wing mirrors, absolutely woeful. Can't stand the things, awful, but look good. So we're going to figure that out. I think I might need a overtaking mirror because it's yeah, it's like Russian roulette when you're trying to get onto the motorway. Bit of bubbling on the yeah, there. So it needs to get sorted out at some point. Around the front end, she's not too bad. We'll talk about this a little bit later. Nice wasp there, great, beautiful. So yeah, keep on round. This seems not is quite clean. That's okay. Although there's a bit of bubbling in here. Okay, yeah, not too bad generally. Again, back end here a little bit, but not too bad. So quite happy. Nearly 50 years old, looking pretty good. The silly things that happen over the years are really frustrating. So you can see, you probably can't see, but you might be able to see. Just there's like a witness mark. Roof rack, great. Round this corner here, you probably, yeah, you can just see it. You can see the dent. Yeah, there you are. That was the old house where the garage roof collapsed. So it's one of those things that I need to get done, but never have, and maybe never will, but we'll see. Everyone say hello to Willow the cat. Morning, Willow. Right, so the front end. So here we are. Now, this has been done in the past 12 months or so. So I've always toyed with the Sebring conversion, but one of the things I've been really mindful of is not wanting to change the car that can't be reversed. Because, you know, as custodian of the car, I'm never going to pass it on, but as custodian, for now at least, then I want it to be able to be taken back to original if someone wants it to be. So, go on, there's millions of these. Well, not quite, but you know what I mean. So it doesn't really matter a great deal. Let's do something a bit more out there, a bit louder, make her a bit more sporty, but something that could be reversed. So I've obviously taken the front bumper off. This is the original Valence that I've I've obviously cleaned up, sanded up, and painted. Had to do some modifications to get it to line up on the wheel arch there, but that looks pretty good. I'm happy with that. And then these intakes, obviously not the scoop intakes on the Superring balance, but they're 3D printed, which is really good. So a friend of mine at work did those. If you look closely, you can just about see it. They've only, as I said, it's only been on for 6 months, so how long they'll hold up, I don't know. And I've also changed the grille here as well. The bonnet strap was one of the things that kind of was difficult for me to do, because I had to literally drill a hole, obviously, as you know, drill a hole into the bonnet, obviously irreversible, but it was one of those features that, not just from a cosmetic perspective, I really wanted it from a safety perspective. There's so many times in this car when I've been driving down the road, driving down the highway, and you can kind of see the bonnet moving. Now, obviously, it's a trick of the eye, but it's a safety feature that I wanted on to make sure that the bonnet's clipped down and it's strapped down as well, to avoid disaster. So that was good, and I thought, I love it. It looks great. It looks really good. One thing you may notice is that whilst I've got the roundels on the side and the back, I've not put it on the bonnet, and the reason for that, I guess, is because I think the front end's quite busy as it is. There's a reasonable amount going on there. I have bought some spotlights. They're really nice, actually. I polished them up, but I'm not sure yet if I'm going to fit them. So I've got the holes here. I bought the metalwork to make the brackets and fit them. But right now, I like it. I like the clean lines, and I'll show you the picture from before. Yeah, she was pretty clean before, but I just wanted to do something a little bit different. You know, re-engage and get back into it. So that's where we are with that. The 3D printed thing, great. How long they'll hold up, I don't know. We shall see. So she has got stainless steel exhaust on her. It's Moss Tourist Trophy exhaust. Got it off eBay at a good price, actually. It was reduced, and the reason it was reduced was because just on the edge here, you just see it. There's a slight knock on there. Now I've fitted it, and I've obviously thought about getting that out, but I haven't got around to it yet. There's so many things to do, but she works really well, and we'll start her up later and have a listen. The back end was rebuilt last year, so all axle off, suspension off, all new hardware. I didn't change out the leaf springs. They're in reasonable state. I did clean them, oil them, get them to slip nicely. I put a lowering kit on as well to bring it down. So I think she's looking pretty good in terms of her ride height and the front end. So yeah, she's been rebuilt as well. They've got that done this year. She was long overdue some maintenance. It was quite a state under there, like she'd been at the bottom of the ocean for a few years. What I'm going to do is actually pop the wheel off and give you a bit of a closer look. Got to love these low profile jacks, particularly now that the front end's been dropped. Hang on, let's just put that back down. Get it under. Here we go. Let's not forget the jack stands. Safety first, guys. There we go. So it's all pretty standard under here. I've not upgraded anything. I've obviously refreshed and serviced a lot of it and changed out a fair few parts, but I've not gone to coilovers or anything like that. But you never know where we may go next. New, old, 15-year-old calipers, still looking pretty good. Green stuff on the brakes, so helps me stop. Although, you know, so everything's been refreshed in here. So the original shock, that's been refurbished, recharged. The cross member's not the original cross member, actually, because I changed that well, when I first got the car, because it was pretty good shape, but it was rotten at the mounts for the steering rack, so that had to be changed out. But that's been repainted recently. Lower bushes down in here were ovalized, well worn, so the arms had to be changed out, but the spring pan is just changed and is the same, but been painted. Nice new bump stop in here, so that's great. And then lowering springs, so they look pretty good. The anti-roll bar is just been painted, and then the link arm has been changed out because they were pretty rotten. One thing I didn't do is I didn't switch to poly bushes. I toyed with it, played with it, and then decided to stick with stock bushes, apart from the V8 bushes on the wishbone. Go on, we'll see how long they hold up. We know how the modern rubber is these days. If I don't get what I want from those, then I'll switch them over. Right, let's pop this wheel back on. Tread on the tyres is pretty good. Obviously the car's not done a vast amount of miles in the past 10 years or so, and the date code is 1604, so go on, they're getting on a bit, but there's no signs of any cracking or dry rotting there, so they're pretty fine, and they'll keep rolling for now. I did toy with changing out the wheels actually when I made some of the cosmetic changes to the car, and that may happen when I can think about the funding, but for now I'm happy with them. The 14-inch, they seem to work reasonably well with what I've got. The next one's not for the purists, so I've decided to modernise the car in a certain number of ways, and we'll cover those as we go through. But one of the first things I did was to fit central locking to the driver's door, only to the driver's door. I've not done it everywhere, just want it on the driver's door. And the reason for that is I've just got so frustrated with all the keys, getting into the car, having to find the right key, getting the wrong key, and it's just a right rigmarole. So I fitted the central locking, and that works brilliantly, so I'm made up with that. So there we are, straight in. Happy days. So I just want to talk about the roundels for a second. As I said, I've not put one on the bonnet. I wanted to keep it a bit cleaner, but I've got them on the door and on the back. So the ones on the doors actually not too bad, quite straightforward. They're only vinyl stick-ons. Maybe one day I'll go towards the paint on, but for now, go on, vinyl stick-ons, see how long they last. There's obviously a bit of issue in terms of getting them to stick in these corners. I've done the best I can, and in the wrong light, at the wrong angle, which, you know, you can still see some slight bubbling, but I'm generally happy with it. So one of the things I was keen on is keeping it really clean, and when I put them on the tread panel, it was not clean because I just stuck them on and then cut it, and it didn't look very good. So what I've got is obviously a separate roundel. I fitted one to the door, and then I matched them up, and I fitted one to the sill, and it sits under the tread panel, and I've got some nice new shiny new tread panels. So that looks pretty good. I'm really pleased with that, and that's the same on the other side. And the one on the back, well, God, it was really painful. So you've obviously got the curvature of the bonnet going this way, the curvature of the bonnet, boot, curvature of the boot going that way, and getting all that to sit without crinkling and bubbles. It took forever, on, off, peeling, hair drying, heat, nightmare. When I got down here, it wasn't too bad. So this bit at the top, difficult. I mean, you can see that there, slight creasing there and there. It's the best I can do. Will I do it again? Maybe, don't know, but for now, pretty happy with it. And you can see it goes underneath, so looks pretty good. The bumper, I've stayed with the bumper on the back. Now, got rid of it at the front to make it look more sporty, but I felt at the back that I was content with it how it was. I did think about putting the Sebring rear valance on and blending it in, but again, as I said earlier, that's a more permanent fit, fiberglass and filler, and I didn't necessarily want to go that way. So I've left it with a bumper on the back and none at the front. Go on, each their own. Right, let's take you guys inside, see what's going on in there. It's changed a lot recently. So this wasn't black on the factory, it was autumn leaf, kind of a fabric middle and a vinyl outer section. And they'd obviously faded in the sun and were looking worse for wear. And I did spend some time and some money, not much money to be fair. They were from a Jag of some variety, some leather seats, and they were cream with a green piping. I'll show a quick picture. Resize those and get those onto the driver's seat, but ultimately I didn't like it in terms of the colour match, and I actually painted all of the internal panels as well. It was going quite well, but ultimately I thought to myself I was a bit more sporty, use the British racing green, etc., and I felt that black was the way to go. Yeah, so we've got black carpets throughout. They're probably about 6 months old now, so they've all been refitted, nice, and I'll put the link to the product in the description below. They're off eBay. I can't remember the name, but I'll put the link down below. They've fitted really nice, although as you guys are fully aware, around the rear wheel arch is a right pain in the backside. So, but we got it done, and it looks pretty good. So I'm happy with that. So inside the car, 1974 MGB has a center console with an armrest. I wasn't overly offended by it, but I just felt it looked nicer and cleaner without the armrest. So I've got rid of the armrest and just bolted straight to the tunnel with the chrome ring. There's a slight splitting in that there. That gator needs changing out, but there you go. So yeah, really happy with that. So I like the look. The door panels and all the internal vinyl pretty much is as the original, but I vinyl coated it, so it's been sprayed black. It adheres pretty well, although I'm a bit concerned about the longevity, where you have a lot of touch points on the panel. So if that doesn't plan out very well, I'll just get some new ones. And this has been sprayed silver, and it's not a chrome strip. So again, given some time, I might change those out, but for now they're all fine. Seats wise, so the rear seats in this car from factory were a cloth seat, so with the autumn leaf, so they obviously didn't work. So I looked at getting some recovered, but these seats are actually a cream vinyl seat that I bought when the car had cream leather. It wasn't the right colour, but I was going to colour match it anyway, and I've colour matched that now. Again, using the same vinyl spray that I used for the door cards. So the seats are new covers on the seats. The frames are all original. It's got different headrests on it. The headrests on the original car are D headrests, but I changed them out for the early one because I thought it looked a little bit cleaner. So happy with that. Seats are from a lady called Yvonne who lives in Sutton Coldfield. Did a brilliant job. So I only ordered the covers from her, but I also ordered the foams for the bottom as well. So this has got the hump foam in, so it gives you a bit more support, and they're a lot more comfortable than the original seats. So I made up with those. And I did debate whether or not to go British Racing Green trim on the seats because I've not got it on the back seat, but I'm really happy with that. I went for the darkest one she could do, so they look really fine. And so I don't carry a spare wheel in the boot, just due to a few things: one, weight, and two, space. What I do carry is the instant inflatable can, and also the rescue card, just in case. So, but the boot, when the boot was repaired and replaced in terms of boot floor and the fuel tank, was all changed out, replaced and repaired when I was rear-ended. So that got done at the same time. So the guys, they did a great job. Right, let's take you guys inside now to look at some of the changes I made inside the car. Right, okay. Oh, there we go. Right. So, quite noticeably, and obviously one of the biggest changes I've made is to the central console. I fitted a CD player in it when I first got the car, and that had, obviously CDs, I don't have any CDs anymore, so that was pretty pointless. YouTube channel, Grand Blogismo, he'd fitted a tablet into his center console, an older Mark 1 MGB, I think. So I wanted to do something similar, and one of the reasons for that is I wanted to have some of the Bluetooth connectivity to one of the changes I'm going to do to the engine. So I went down that road to fit a tablet here. Decided what I wanted to do with the switches. So the hazard light switch is mounted down here, so I got that moved up here, and I have a switch that controls the fan in the engine. So that's the fan switch. So these are new toggle switches that I fitted. I think they look pretty cool. And then I cut the hole as needed after carefully defining the size of the tablet that I required, and I've got the mounting structure that sits beneath it, behind it. These are mounted onto some panels that sit, and they're just glued on the back, so I didn't want to drill holes because you'd obviously see those. So, and then the bezel around the outside is 3D printed again, so looks really good. And I shall show you that in a future video when I install the tablet, and then we connect it and get it up and running. One thing about having a tablet and not a stereo is you need to have an amplifier. So I've got to fit an amplifier as well and connect to the speakers. So the time's come. So as Derek would say from Vice Grip Garage, let's get under the power barn, or in this case, the lack of power barn. So we've not got much light looking this way, so the sun's in the wrong direction. What I'm going to do is start her up, have a quick listen, and then we'll spin around so we can see more under the bonnet. Oh, crikey. So she is cold, not been started today, so we'll see how she fares with a choke. Oh, can't go Riley. Maybe needed a little bit more choke there, but she's up and running. Right, so I turned around so we can see a little bit better now. Nothing special under here. Original engine, straight 4, twin SU, HIF4 carbs. So the engine has had work. That was rebuilt by a company called Octarian Services not long after I got the car, so probably 15 years ago. Now it's an 1800 engine. It's been bought out to 1860, and it's got a fast road cam fitted, and then the head is a Peter Burgess head. So he's from Mansfield in Derbyshire. He does quite a lot in the MG BGT scene. Sure, a lot of you guys will recognise the name. So it's polished and ported with oversized valves to give me a little bit more performance. I've obviously changed out the air filter units on the carburetors to get more air in as well. So apart from that, stock in terms of engine performance characteristics, she sounds pretty good. A little bit tackety, so but not sounding too bad. So a quick look at the exhaust. Yeah, sounds good. I like it. Nice, deep and throaty. One of the things I didn't change when I changed the exhaust was the manifold. So I did debate whether to go for stainless steel headers straight through. And one of the things I was really concerned about, given the proximity of the carburetors and the air intake, was the heat under the bonnet, and the cast iron manifold retains more heat. So decided to stick with the cast iron manifold. Had read a few comparisons about it, went on some of the forums, and that was seen to be a reasonable balance of stainless steel exhaust and cast iron manifold, not too much of a compromise on performance aspects. So I'm quite okay with that. One of the frustrations, I have painted it in high temperature, very high temperature paint, to make it look better, but as soon as I paint it and then heat it up, it just cracks again. The paint does. So well, I'm gonna proceed to wrap the manifold. Now that in itself is a debate as to whether you should or shouldn't do that in terms of heat retention, but I'm gonna give it a go and see where we get to. Let's turn this thing off now so we can hear ourselves think. So other things I've done under here, Lucas Sports coil, however good or bad that is, that's what I've got at the moment. I updated the distributor, so it's got electronic ignition, so it's got an Alden distributor that is mapped to the cam on the engine, so that should give me better performance. One of the things that I had to do to the car back in 2010 or 2009 was had to have some rust repair done at the front end. So the very front of the chassis rails, as they run under this panel, were pretty rotten. So they were changed out for me. It was the same garage that did the repair on the rear chassis leg, so they did a good job, and they were fantastic actually getting it done on a tight time scale. A year later, unfortunately, as these things are often the case, in doing some prep for doing some underbody sealing, I ended up finding some large gaping holes and rot in the chassis legs as they run under the car, and you know what it's like. Within a matter of 2 minutes, you've got a hole that you can fit your hand in. So quite scary at the time. I thought that she was going to have to be written off. So I managed to source some new chassis rails from eBay. One was a rubber bumper version, one was a chrome bumper version. They're exactly the same until you get to the front. So, but because I'd already had the work done at the front, I didn't go that far. What I did is fitted the chassis legs up to a point and welded them just there. If you look closely, you can just see the weld line going along here, goes underneath and back up the other side, and it goes back up the other side in that position. I wanted it staggered so I could get a nice fit and get a lot of weld in there to make it nice and strong. But I took the opportunity at that time as well to get into it, give a bit of a clean up, and all the floors. What's that way? No, it's not. It's just paint. All the floors are brand new as well. So the rails going back are all new, and the cross members and everything were fine. So it was all great. And so she's not my first MG. I had a MG ROADSTER before, 1975, white rubber bumper, and I'd done the part Sebring conversion to her as well. That was back in my just after university days. So that really was on a shoestring. But unfortunately, she didn't survive after I She ended up upside down in the field with me inside her, which was pretty scary, given that she had no roll cage or any real protection or anything. I can go into some more detail on that, but it was pretty sketchy. And the only thing that survives from this that I have from her in this car is the steering wheel. So the steering wheel, she's been cleaned up, she's been varnished and lacquered, and it's one of the things that I obviously will keep continuity between the cars. But she has got a couple of nicks in her here and there, one there and one down here. Nothing major, but it is a reminder because these nicks were made during my accident in my last car. So I escaped unscathed from that accident. I did cut my finger at the time, but these marks were made when the windscreen, the aluminium frame windscreen on the ROADSTER collapsed, and it all came crashing down or up, given I was upside down. So she's a constant reminder. Right, let's get some hot dogs down me for lunch, and then we'll take her for a spin on the button. Oh, let's get the seatbelt on. Always a bit tricky. Yeah, she's on. Right, okay. A bit of choke. Just going to head out of the village. Go to find some quiet lanes. So one of the things that's quite common on an MGB is the steering column can get a bit of play in it because there's some plastic bushes in the steering column that they use for the collapse column for a safety feature, but they wear over time. So one of the fixes you can do there is the one I did, which is to use some high temperature glue and use that to fix the bushes. So that's worked really well. Right, let's get past this bus here. Not sure what that guy was doing. Right, I'm going to apologise about the camera. I think it's a bit wibbly wobbly. Not got the best of camera stands, so I need to get a better one. So I'm just coming up on Fradley Junction actually in Staffordshire, if anyone knows it. So nice little place for a stop and a cup of coffee, and there's a lovely little pub up there, the Swan I think it is, which is really nice. So right, let's just head round here. So down on this little road, it's a lovely straight bit. There's always bloody traffic, but you can, when I do some work on the car and I want to test something, then I kind of bring it down here. There's other straight roads as well for that, or some curvy roads as well where you want to try out the suspension and steering. But it's good on here because you can, it's quite flat, give it a bit of pace. So she brakes quite straight, accelerates quite straight. Right, she's not a quick car. I mean, the standard 0 to 60 time in these, well, it varies from European to US. And the carburetors and the smog control systems that particularly the US cars had. But this car, European car, somewhere between 11 and 12 seconds. And they obviously, when they got to rubber bumpers and increased ride height and increased weight, and things didn't get any better. So, as I said earlier, the engine's been rebored, fast road cam, light and flywheel, polished and ported head. So let's do a quick 0 to 60 and see how she gets on. Right. Right then, so here we go. Try not to burn out the clutch. There she is. Not too quick, not too slow, but definitely not quick. I mean, she's nearly 50 years old, so we'll take it easy on the old girl. And again, the camera's shaking around, so apologies. So that's it, guys. End of my first video. Really enjoyed it. I've had a great day. Lots more projects to come. The first thing I'm going to do is fit some bonnet struts to the car, get more access under the bonnet, and save banging my head on the bloody bonnet catch, which is really painful. But the biggest project is fitting a supercharger, so that's going to be the main focus of a few videos coming up in a mini series. You can get a supercharger from Moss. I'm not going to do that. That's far too simple. I'm going to buy in some aspects, but modify some aspects and see how we get on. See what she does in terms of increasing performance. I'm also going to fit a Tune 123 distributor, and I'll link that to the tablet that I'm putting in the car. One of the reasons I put the tablet in the car in the first place. Really looking forward to those projects. Really looking forward to showing you those and bringing you along for the journey. But I'm exhausted, and those jobs, well, they're for another day. So thank you.